Hi guys, welcome back to the channel, Ron's Weight Loss Journey, and I'm Ron. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. And if you're a returning member, welcome back. And if you're a new member, could you please share, like, and subscribe to my channel? It helps other people know when I post the latest video like this one. And before we get started, I'm not a medical doctor. I don't make any medical claims. This is all based on my own personal journey. So please do your homework first before you get started on your weight loss or any other venture that regarding your health. Well, today marks the end of week 87 keto results, and I just want to go over some of my notes and what we did for activity this past week and how we did on our journey. And before we get started, I'd like to read a quote that I found from Dwayne Johnson. You know him as Rocky from WWE. And so on this particular note, quote there best describes my week this past week. Think back 5 years ago. Think of where you are at today. Think ahead 5 years and what you want to accomplish and be unstoppable. And that's the way I am right now. I'm unstoppable no matter how bad of a week I just had. I'm not going to let it stop me. I'm going to continue on with the weight loss. I'm going to continue to inspire people. And I'm going to continue with the journey. And so let me explain what happened this past week. Well, we started the week off at 203 pounds. I was really excited because I'm almost really there to the Wonderland. And then I was getting really depressed because I didn't want to do any more photography for the city and everything like that. And then I got a call from the city hall, and they weren't mad because I was up there taking photography at that funeral, but because they just didn't want my photography being shared out to social media. And she asked me if I can have the photographs for the family, and I was more than happy to give them the photographs that I'd taken of inside the church and outside the church, and through the 3 or 4 day event. And I took like about 600 photographs that I gave them, and they were some of the best work that I ever did, and so they were really happy to get that. And God spoke to me again and told me that, it's time for you to move on from it and just, don't worry about it no more. Just go back to being plain old Ron. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm just enjoying myself again. Now Friday, I asked my wife, I said, well, what do you want to eat today? Because we haven't had anything in quite a while, and I didn't feel like cooking. And so we ended up having Chinese food. We split a plate, and I had a little more than I should have had probably. And then one thing led to the next. And then Saturday, Donna and I went up to New Hampshire to play bingo, and I had a huge plate of meatloaf with the carby potato and all that. And then Sunday I splurged at Longhorns. We didn't feel like cooking this year for Easter. The biggest steak that they had, which was the ribeye is what I wanted. It was a porterhouse. And then I had baked potato with that, and then I had a big thing of onions with it, and a lot of that stuff you're not really supposed to have. And of course, those of you familiar with Longhorns, they give you that nice fresh bread there, and so I had to have that. And and of course, being Easter, we had strawberry shortcake for dessert when you came home, and then I had a custard pie, and of course, as a result, I ended up gaining eight stinking pounds from all my carbs that I had this past week, after all what I pushed off the week before and the last 2 weeks to get off. So I'm not disappointed in myself. I mean, it is what it is. You just move on from it, and you just go on to the next day, to the next week, and you pick yourself up and you start all over. It's that simple, and I don't gloat about it, guys, anymore. I'm very, very, I look at what I've been able to accomplish, and if you would have told me a couple of years ago when I started my weight loss journey, and even at my heaviest when I was 336, that I would have been down to 203 pounds and 211 pounds like I am today, I would have told you you're crazy. So I'm looking at the overall and what I've been able to accomplish. Now, so what we got going on this week, and I'm looking at my notes, by the way, and I just wanted to, and I should have said this at the very beginning, so happy Easter. I hope you guys had a nice Easter. And so what we did for jobs this past week, I did one job on the 7th of a ribbon cutting ceremony, and I wasn't sure if I was going to continue. I told the editor I didn't want the job anymore, and then I realized that I missed doing that type of activity and going out talking to people. And so I decided to stay with the paper for part-time, when I can. I just got to be careful what I earn because I live in an apartment complex where it's affordable housing, and for people that fall within our category, which low income. So if I make more than that, my rent's going to go up, and I don't want it to go up any more than what it is. And if it goes up 25, 50, I'm okay with something like that. But if it goes up really crazy, then Donna and I would just move out of here and get a regular apartment. But the problem is I'll be paying $300 or $400 more a month, and plus oil, and I can't afford that. So I'm just going to be careful with the jobs. And then yesterday, which was actually Saturday, I ended up going down to our local place, Barrett Park, which I go walking there all the time, and they had a fishing derby, and I asked the editor, I said, you mind if I go down and grab out a few photographs for the paper? And he goes, I'm glad you mentioned that to me, Ron, because as a guy, there's nothing more of a thrill for a kid to catch a fish for the first time. So when I went down there to grab out photographs, I asked a couple of people, is anybody catching anything? And this young kid was just turned 9 years old that day, and he caught his biggest fish ever, which was a 15.5-inch rainbow. And I took a picture of him next to his grandfather holding up the rainbow, and that was a great. In the local newspaper running a story on that this coming Monday. He's going to have a full-page story about it. And the reporter, my sweetheart Danielle, she already ran the full story about the actual event, like Friday or Thursday this past week. And all they were looking for was a follow-up photograph. So that was a good job for me Saturday. And then of course Sunday we went up to Longhorns. I didn't do too much walking this past week. I did go up to the Doyle Field one day this past week. I got about 3 miles in that day. That day I wanted to do Shoalin Farms, but they had to close down because it was spraying the apple orchard. So I ended up going to Barrett Park, and I did some photography around there a little bit. Then I got some new camera lenses that I was checking out and I was testing out this past week. And I really love the camera lens. I got a 50mm prime lens, they call it. And then I got an 18mm prime lens, and then I got a 135mm lens at 135mm, and that's actually my favorite lens now. And then of course the kit lens that came with the M50 camera, which I absolutely love this camera, by the way. I got to finally figuring out the settings and everything. And so when I was talking to one of the reporters that day, actually one of the photographers, a local photographer, he told me, we were showing him my camera and his camera and stuff like that, and he told me that if whenever you get into a situation, if you're outside especially and you get stuck, it's okay to use the automatic focus and switch off on the manual. And then he was showing me a screen mode and what that's all about. So that day I took a lot of photography using the screen mode, and I've been playing around with the different modes on the camera, what they do and what they represent, and to get the better photography. So I'm really excited now with the camera that I purchased. I'm very happy with it. If there's any setback with the camera, the only thing that I don't like about it is the viewfinder. So when you're looking at it for an image after you snapshot something, it could be a little bit bigger. It's only about a 2 or 3 inch screen. I wouldn't mind like a bigger screen, but the bigger the screen, the more money you're going to spend for a camera. So enough of that. And so we talked about that. We gained 8 pounds this past week. We're pushing off this week to get some more weight off this week. So what are we going to do to achieve that feat? We're going to do a beef and butter fast for a few days, and we're going to do bacon, butter, beef and eggs, BBBE, and then towards the end of the week we're going to go to a very strict egg fast for a few days to get rid of all the bloat from this past week, and hopefully I'll be on track by the end of next weekend. I mentioned that about my wife. She said that it seems like every time I had a weight gain for that particular week, it's always been around the holidays, and this week, holiday being Easter, was no exception. So I kept, well, when do we have our next holiday? Our next holiday is, I believe, Memorial Day. I don't really, it's not an important holiday for me to worry about gaining weight. I mean, it's an important holiday to recognize that holiday being Memorial Day and for our military. But so I just I enjoy this, and we got a lot of events coming up in the month of May too. Besides Memorial Day, we got like the Town Purple, and I'll explain all that when we get to that month. But anyways, I'm just looking forward to continue on doing photography. So we got involved in a step challenge with Derek's step challenge. I had a really good week for that. I did 14,000 steps and then some, and it goes Friday to Friday, and I'm still waiting on my new phone. I sent the old phone back, and I'm having an issue right now. But FedEx there, they came to the house last Wednesday, tried to drop it off, said I wasn't home, and it's a bunch of bull crap. I am home. I've been home all week, and they come and they don't deliver it because they don't want to beat the buzzer for whatever reason. I think they're not even coming to the door. So I left a huge note on the door today, Monday being Patriots Day, and that I am home and beat the buzzer, and I'm going to try to call them up and see what's going on with that, see if we can get it another way, because if I can't get it by Wednesday, the phone's going to go back and I'm going to cancel out the $15 order, because I'm getting tired of FedEx. FedEx is really bad. This is why I love Amazon. Amazon is the best, and so is the United States Postal Service. I just, that. So what do you got coming up? So this coming week I got to go tomorrow, actually Wednesday, I got to go down to the Dr. Pandera. I got to have my pre-screening for a colonoscopy and scope. They call it. They put a scope down your stomach. So we're going to have that done, even though we had that done a couple of years ago. Technically, they don't usually like to do that every 10 years, but we have some issues below, and we want to make sure we're okay with it. And then, so I had an x-ray done this past week on my hip, and on both sides of my hip, and I got to follow up the following week with that, and I'm pretty sure we're going to have hip replacement, probably both hips, and so when I get the results back from that, I'll give that to you in another update, and I'm scared of surgery, but I'm going to tell you something, guys, about the surgery. If you have issues with your hips and everything like that, they're not going to do surgery if you're overweight. And where I'm down to an appropriate weight now, being 210, 211, and by the time you do surgery, I'll hopefully be under 200. They will do the surgery for me. And so without the weight loss, that wouldn't have happened. So it's another reason why, guys, if you ever have any medical issues that need to get taken care of through surgery, if you're heavy, unless it becomes life-threatening, they're not going to do anything for you. So that's another reason why you need to think about getting out there and getting your health back in order. And but anyways, enough said of all that. I'm going to let you guys go. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please don't ever give up. If you have a bad week like I did, I gained 8 pounds. I'm not worried about it. It's just 8 pounds. What is it? Probably about 4 pounds of that is just water. Because I mean, my stomach has been bloated. I feel absolutely sick to my stomach with all that stuff that I had there. Now I'm just trying to flush it all out and get rid of it this week. And that's what the goal is. And I'll be back on track by the end of this week. But anyways, I'm going to continue on filming and doing some recipes. And I want to talk about recipe. One thing before we leave. Hang on. So at the very beginning of my weight loss journey, I wasn't doing this, but I bought this binder, and I got this is a Google image, so if I went to go publish this, I would have to get a new image. But this is just for my purposes. This is my favorite recipes, and I bought this plastic binder, and I got them all now like in sleeves, and I put these little plastic folders, and like this recipe is the almond flour crust pizza recipe. And here's my photograph of that day when I had it. So in other words, I have I started doing all my recipes like that. So now when I want to make something specific, I'll have the recipe and I'll have the photograph how it should have looked like when I'm finished. And the only thing I haven't put in there is the macros, and I'll probably do that later on when I start updating all that. But what I'm going to do is now I've done many of these recipes that I did at the very beginning of my journey. I put them in a Word doc, and I never printed them out because I never had a printer until now. So now what I'm doing is I'm recreating a lot of these recipes, and then I'm printing them out, and then I'm taking a photograph of them, and then I'll have it for my own record, so I won't have to keep going back to so when I have it, I'll have my own personal recipe book. And so if you're new to doing keto or any weight loss journey, and you're great at doing recipes, I would suggest doing something like that. I mean, my handwriting, I write worse than the doctor. And I can't even understand my own handwriting at times. So for me, it's just as easy to create it on Word doc and then save it as a doc file and put it in a folder. And then I film out my recipes in addition, and then I edit it and I put them up on my YouTube channel and a playlist, Keto Cooking with Ron. And it's been working out pretty good. But we're going to definitely be doing some of that this week. I do want to make some bacon wrapped scallops that I bought some of the large base, the sea scallops, the biggest ones that I could find. And I bought some haddock. I'm going to have that later on one day after the egg fast and stuff like that. But yeah, so we're going to continue out doing that. But I just wanted to point that out about the recipe book. But anyways, I'll let you guys go. Hope you guys have an amazing week. And I'll probably do another follow-up later on this week. Then maybe I'll post a couple more videos on what Ron eats in a week to help you guys out to lose weight and what to do after you're coming off of a bad week to help you out, so you can get rid of all your carbs, which is basically what I had this past week. I had a lot of carbs that I shouldn't have had. But, you know, if you follow me along, probably Wednesday I'll post a couple of videos on what Ron eats in a week to help lose the weight from having a bad week. But anyways, you guys are amazing. Love you guys. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Enjoy your day. And don't forget to share and like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Ron's Weight Loss Journey, Love and Keto. Have a great week, guys.